Hello and welcome to the Elemental Podcast. I am your host, Jessica Rea. The Elemental Podcast was born to inspire you to live an extraordinary life, to tap into the belief, understanding, and embodiment that you can live beyond the confines of the ordinary, beyond the matrix of the everyday life. We've had some incredible guests on this journey, so I'm excited to welcome you to Season 2, a season all about building health, wealth, and following your passions to manifest something truly extraordinary, and embracing the magic of both success in spiritual world and success in the material world, and how these two weave together. This season, I'll be joined by remarkable individuals who have mastered their professional fields while walking a deeply spiritual path. I'm especially looking forward to connecting with you in my solo episodes, diving deeper into topics you've suggested and exploring the questions that matter most to you. Thank you to everyone who has supported the podcast so far. Every listen, like, share, and comment means the world to me. I can't wait to share the journeys of our upcoming guests with you. Also, don't forget, there's an entire season 1 full of deep conversations designed to help you live an extraordinary life. Feel free to listen, like, share, and comment on those episodes too. This podcast is as much for you as it is for me, and I'm deeply grateful to walk this journey alongside you. Thank you for listening, and welcome to Season 2 of the Elemental Podcast. This episode of the Elemental Podcast is proudly sponsored by Velora. Birthed in London, Velora is where purpose meets pleasure, a collection of gourmet creations designed to be savored while they nourish you. Every treat is handcrafted, organic, and free from sugar, seed oils, gluten, and dairy. Velora's mission is simple: to provide delectable indulgences that nourish your body and elevate your spirit. Treat yourself and experience the joy of indulgence that truly uplifts. Follow Velora London on Instagram and find out all the details in this episode's bio. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Elemental Podcast. My name is Jessica Rea and I am your host. Today we are joined by the goddess, the gorgeous and lovely Tatiana Maxim or Maxim with a Russian background but living in Florida here in America. And I say here in America today because actually I'm also in Florida too. Not as around the corner as I'd like from Tatiana, but however, we're still in the sunshine and I'm super grateful to be here and connecting with the motherland, the USA. So Tatiana is a fellow student of the Modern Mystery School. She's also now taken a step along the path of guidehood. She's a healer, a teacher, and an incredible life activation practitioner. I've been lucky enough to train with her not only in the US, well, Canada, but she's come all the way over to London multiple times to do some trainings together as well. Her dedication in the path of light is incredible. And I've invited her on here today to talk about her journey and to really give us a little deep dive into the trials and tribulations as a spiritual healer, a warrior, and a mother that we've had to overcome, and particularly a journey of New Age, psychedelic awakening, what is happening in the world with this psychedelic awakening, and how we can truly live an empowered life without taking the drugs and the substances that harm our mind, our body, our spirit, and our soul. And Tatiana embodies this really beautifully, as if I could put it like this. It is so simple, truly. The path of light is a path of dedication. And this woman is truly embodying that. And I must say congratulations to her on her step of guidehood. I'm really looking forward to seeing who and what you bring to this world through your Empower Thyself classes and all your teachings. And I would love for you to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about where you are today and what it took to get you here.
Thank you, Jessica. It's a real honor and pleasure to be here with you today. And I'm very grateful for you. I'm grateful for the Modern Mystery School for bringing us together and so many people in the world together. So, my name is Tatiana Maxim. I'm a certified guide, healer, and life activation practitioner in the lineage of King Solomon, certified by the Modern Mystery School. I'm the founder of Ascended Living with locations in Naples, Florida and Miami, Florida. And here we expose people and offer people the path of initiation into the lineage of King Solomon. We also support our students and our clients with lineage healings, as well as lineage teachings and just guidance and support through life's ups and downs. I'm also a mother of two, Nico and Valentina, 3 and 7. And the journey through motherhood has been so amazing and so supported by all the work that I've done. So it's truly been the path of the mystery school and the path of the lineage of King Solomon has truly affected each and every part of my life in a deep, profound way, from personal, spiritual, mental, physical, motherhood, relationships, literally every single thing has been touched by the light and transformed. So, a little bit about my place where I am now and how I arrived here. I was initiated in the mystery school about 15 years ago, and I took the slow and steady path. I was in my 20s, and I was quite, I would say, skeptical at that point in a healthy way. And I stepped onto the path. And while I was on the path, I was still searching for something else. I wasn't really quite sure that this was it. And for those of you that dabble or like human design, I'm a 3/5 in human design, which is an experimenter. So I love to try things and I learned through trial and error. So I continued to check out other things, other self-help programs, other self-development, other spiritual development. I tried things like Tony Robbins and Oprah Winfrey and Joe Dispenza, um, Abraham Hicks. There was quite a few different, I would say, new age or more mental approach to self-development that I also dabbled in. And everything kept leading me back to the path. The path was really the thing that provided me with lasting and real transformation. And since it's a path of progression, it always comes back to give you something more so you can continue to grow and you can continue to expand. You can continue to learn. There's no ceiling like there is in other programs that are not lineage based. In other programs, you may go and you complete the program. And then what's next? Another coaching, series to buy that's dealing again with the same thing, just packaged a little bit differently. So that's what really stood out for me in the lineage and in the teachings was that path of progression and how as soon as I mastered a certain point in my life, I could go back and I could get further teachings and further support to keep going and master the next level of what I needed to. So, through that whole journey of those 15 years, I slowly but surely went along, breaking through resistance and obstacles and challenges. And I really saw my life transform in a beautiful way from somebody that I would say was a quite irresponsible and ungrounded, young adult into somebody who formed a career, became very successful, um, met my husband at that time, started a family, and I was able to hit all the milestones with a sort of effort and ease with the support of these teachings and the support of the lineage. So as I went along and I'm mastering my life, I received the call to serve. And I said, look, my life is great. I feel like I'm in an amazing place. I've built an amazing foundation for myself. I've served myself. I've filled my cup. And now I want to share it with others. So I went for the Life Activation Practitioner training, where you learn the life activation modality and you get certified in it. You're able to offer that to others. So I started activating people, and I was like, this modality is I have no idea how it works, but I know that it works because I'm seeing results in people. I'm seeing people quit drinking. I'm seeing people get pregnant. I'm seeing these miracles happen before my eyes with receiving the life activation modality. So I did that for several years while starting a family simultaneously. And naturally, after 7 years, several, it was seven and several actually. After those years, I was called again to step further forward. And the calling came something like this. The calling said, okay, it's great that you are serving people through real estate and mortgages. You know, you're doing really good with that. I see it's brought you, success in the matrix in the material world, and you're good at what you do. But is that the highest use of your time? And is that your highest purpose? To sell people houses and provide them with mortgages? So I really had to look at myself and say, like, is that really the highest thing that I could be doing in service to humanity? And the answer was no. Go figure. So after resisting that for quite a while and contemplating it, of how do I, give up my career? Is it right to give up my career? What do I do? How would this even work? I got to a point of just stillness and surrender. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go all in on this. And I would love to be able to change people's lives and be the facilitator of real transformation, the same way that happened to me and the same way that's happened with, I don't know how many tens of thousands of initiates that are in the world alive today. I said that,
44,400 in our
thank you.
lineage
Thank you. And counting
and
every single
counting.
day. So I just took a really big risk and a really big step forward. And honestly, I haven't looked back. The satisfaction and the light and the gratitude that I receive from serving somebody's soul and helping them to awaken, helping them to overcome challenges in their life, with this accelerated trajectory. Like it's efficient, it's effective, it's in the light, and it's fueled by God. So it's a recipe for miraculous transformation. So
Mm.
that's how I got into guidehood. I took a pretty scary step into it, but I just knew that this is what I'm called to do, that millions of people can do mortgages and real estate. And in Florida, we have over 1 million realtors, believe it or not. This
Wow.
is like the land of realtors. But how many guides do we have that can touch a person's soul and awaken their soul and extend that hand and pull them out of darkness or pull them up to a place that they've never dreamt was possible, into the limitless light, into unlimited possibilities. So I hope that answers your question, but that's how I arrived where I am now, and I'm just super grateful for the opportunity to have found this path and have the opportunity to not just invest in myself and fill my own cup, but to be able to share that light with others. It's like I feel like this is one of the highest services that I can do in my life after being a mother and having kids.
100%. I mean, honestly, as you're sharing here, I've known you for a couple of years now, and I just For those of you listening, firstly, thank you so much for sharing all of that beautiful part of your journey. But those of you who don't know what a guide is, it is one of the most incredibly selfless positions of service you can take on the planet. And what Tatiana has recently done is stepped into being of service to the light and to God always. There's no off button. There's no off switch. There is a level of sacrifice, but it's a level of sacrifice embodied with so much love to take that decision. So I commend you on that. And really hearing you talk, the growth in who you are since I've met you, and just even energetically, is so incredibly transformative. And that, journey, the 15 years that it took you, sure, maybe you could have made the pace a little bit more rapid. Let's not go there. The thing is, you were preparing yourself for this moment, and this is the energy of I'm ready. Like, I can feel it. I know this feeling because when I met my guide energetically, I moved 11,000 kilometers to work with her because of that level, that energy of readiness. It was a level of dedication because, like you touched on, you tried lots of different things. You did the Tony Robbins, you did the Abraham Hicks, you did the Oprahs, you did all of those things, and they served a purpose. Of course, they kept you in the realms of self-help, discovery, expansion, and growth. But like you said, it was really mental. There's a limitation. Whereas with a path of progression, the lineage of King Solomon, the modern mystery school, that path of progression never stops. So it's unlimited. There's an unlimited amount of progression and light, meaning you can always move forward. There's never stagnation. It's not just another self-help course where you're changing up the same narrative, but in different ways and packaging it differently. And it's the same with working with different guides. It's, Tatiana offers guidehood here in Florida. You're going to have the opportunity to work with her if you're in America or in Florida. But maybe, when we're listening to this podcast and you were in Europe, for example, you can reach out to Tatiana or myself and connect with us to find a guide that is closer with you, or to work in a way that will help you as well step along the path of progression. So guidehood isn't you have to be at the one seminar to be able to, the one Empower Thyself class. We are a community in helping everyone step along the path of progression. And we're here to help each other out to make sure that you, the listener, and or your clients are able to truly take that step in the right direction. Saying this, Tatiana is based in Florida. And one thing I have to say is, wow, I'm surprised because, how many American movies can I really watch to have an understanding of America? Zero. Yeah, the red cups are there. There's beer pong. I now understand, there's bigger is really a thing here. Like, cars are bigger, drinks are bigger, food is bigger, XL. But there's also this really great mindset of get it done. It can happen. It's America. We can dream it and make it happen. And it really is true. Saying this, my observation of the last couple of days has been around the new age wokeisms that are here. And I have to say, I'm actually quite surprised. I have walked around here and I have walked into more smoke clouds of marijuana and hippie looking, lovely, kind, friendly people who are kind of what I would say are in the bubble. And I say a bubble because in Cape Town in South Africa, where I grew up, I was in a bubble. I was in a bubble of new age work spirituality, which allowed me to feel like I'd broken through the matrix, but ultimately I was trapped. I was trapped in a limited belief that I needed plant medicines and psychedelics and marijuana and all of these drugs in order to reach a certain level of enlightenment, and that I, as God, wasn't able to get there on my own. Tatiana and I have had some similar experiences with the use of drugs and plant medicines and things like this. And I love talking about it because how awesome is it to truly come to a point in belief and understanding, knowledge, and realization that I am God. I don't need these drugs. I can do it without them. And actually, these drugs aren't helping me in the bigger picture. And to break through that matrix, that confined belief, that constriction is like, it's incredibly liberating. I would love for you to touch on that, especially in relation to Florida and America, because, we all have different communities and different ways of spiritual awakening, and some places there's more concentrated than others. And I would love for you to touch on your journey with psychedelics, and what, when you were experiencing psychedelic awakenings or illusions, shall we say,
Mm-hmm.
in those experiences, what were you feeling like you'd reached and achieved there? When did you realize that you wanted more and that there was more, and how did you break free from it?
I would love to share that. And actually, this is something that I talk about quite openly because I, you know, as a guide, and I think as a light worker, period, even as just a life activation practitioner, we want to provide people with the hope and opportunity, right? That there is something more and greater, and we want to show them that through our own journey. So when I was in my, I guess it must have been in my early 20s, I um, became part of the psychedelic community in Seattle, Washington. So that's where I was growing up. And I met these people and I immediately felt at home because one thing that I really was yearning for and was seeking was a sense of community. So that was really the first thing that I believe I was provided because I did not have a concept of seeking a spiritual awakening or seeking spirituality. I grew up Russian Orthodox, but my family didn't go to church a lot. So there was a little bit of a lack, I would say, of spirituality or religion in my household. Although my father was very, very open to speaking about religion to me in a philosophical way. So we had many philosophical conversations, and I always honored and enjoyed that and was able to get some of my mental needs met with that. So the first thing that really, really touched me was the community and the people because they were really great and they were really supportive. The thing that came with that was all these different kind of drugs, not just psychedelics, right? All these different kind of drugs and this party lifestyle, right? And the parties could last for days or weeks, you know? I'm like, what were these people doing? Did they even work? Like, I don't know. Somehow we all paid our rent and, functioned on a bare minimum level. But there was a lot of physical ailments, I would say, a lot of suffering in the physicality as a result of taking so many substances, right? So it's so hard on the body. And people want to say, oh, well, you know, um, when you take some of these substances, I'm sorry for being, kind of visual, but you'll throw up when you take the substances. And they're like, oh, that's part of you coming up on this thing. And now I understand that that is your body trying to reject poison. That's the same thing that happens when you ingest a poison and your body's like, no, I don't want that. So our body even tries to reject those things, which is saying a lot. Our spirit, our body, they're not really in line with those practices. So through that journey and that seeking community, I did start to have a spiritual awakening when I took DMT in a synthesized form, what they call the God molecule. And that was the first time that I actually connected with more, I would say, celestial energies. Because prior to that, everything that I had taken, all the plant medicine and all the synthetic medicine, was really dealing with this earthly realm. It was very physical. So, physical sensations, what do you see? Everything was limited. Like there was a ceiling that you couldn't go past, and you were here trapped in this experience, right? And once I had that experience of um, seeing something more celestial, I was like, wow, there definitely is something out there. And right around that time is when I met a guide in the Modern Mystery School who was an apprentice guide actually at that time and a life activation practitioner. And I met her through the scene. Like she used to show up at the parties, but she didn't drink and she didn't take any of the drugs. She would just show up and provide this opportunity for anybody that wanted to try something different that wasn't drug-based or plant-based or she offered the life activation to people. So I knew her and I trusted her. And I was also very much into experimenting at the time. So I said, hey, why not? Let's do it. And I remember when I received the life activation, since I was in that mode of seeking experiences, right? I was seeking experiences. I wouldn't say I was seeking enlightenment. I was seeking experiences and I was seeking community. When I received the life activation, it was like a light switch got flipped on inside of me. And like the inner flame or the inner motor that had been running at such a low capacity just gotten cranked up to like 8. It was like a 2 from all the damage that I had done to my body, right? And it got cranked up to like 8. And I remember like my nerves were alive. I remember my vision opened up. Things got brighter. I felt like I was a horse with blinders. I feel like the blinders came off. Like I could literally have peripheral vision that I didn't have before. Like the nerves, like my ocular nerves got infused with light. And I got so charged up from that life activation. And I said, wow, this feels so healing and it feels so amazing. And it's just feeding my body. And oh, what is this? Oh, is this feeding my soul too? That was new. That was really, really new. And after that, I wanted more. I wanted to experience more. And she invited me to the Empower Thyself initiation. And, looking back on this as I'm speaking about it, that sense of community that I wanted, I found that in the mystery school. I found people that were seeking God, seeking awakening, that they were doing it in such a um, wholesome and supportive and healthy way that for me it was like a no-brainer. I felt amazing. My body felt amazing. I was able to start connecting with those celestial realms that I had on my one experience that gave me this glimpse. I started to be able to connect with those through meditations and through different classes I was attending, like astral travel. You remember the first time you did astral travel? I was like, wow, I can do this with my eyes closed without anything. Like this is here. Like all those experiences that you get through plant medicine, you can have them without. They might not be like on steroids, right? But you can absolutely access most of those energies through different spiritual practices and through different guided meditations and through different teachings. So I just really found it as a superior way. It was a better system. It was a better way, and it fulfilled the things. that I needed in my life. And some of them I didn't even know I needed. Because one thing that I reflected on recently that I wanted to share is that we have this sense, and it's almost a bit immature. And I'll speak for myself, and I see it in my kids too. We have this sense that wherever we are, that like we are confident this is where we are. Maybe there's something else, maybe not. But I always had the sense of like, I'm doing pretty good. Like wherever I'm at, I'm like, I'm doing pretty good. Like even back in my 20s, I'm like, oh, I might be partying like 5 days a week and putting all this different stuff in my body and engaging in all these very risky behaviors. But I'm doing pretty good because I'm paying my rent. Oh, then I bought a house. I'm doing pretty good because I'm buying a house. Oh, I have a job. I'm able to make money. I haven't got fired from my job, so I'm doing pretty good. We tell ourselves this story of like, you're doing good. You're doing good. You don't need to grow. You don't need to be better. And that's our negative ego. You learn about that in the Empower Thyself class. You learn about how our negative ego is constantly give us all this little feedback that you don't need to change. Everything is good. You're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing. Change is hard. Change is uncomfortable. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And so at that time, I thought I was doing pretty good. And then once I got initiated, I was like, I'm doing phenomenal, right? Until I got to that point where I felt like I needed to grow again, right? And thankfully, as an initiate, you start having a different perspective on growth, on progression, on challenges, on resistance, on what it means to grow, on the process of growth and how it's not all airy-fairy, healing energy, love and light. Growth is hard. It's challenging. It can be painful. You can suffer through growth, but it's necessary. Everything that we have in our life that's worth something, we had to work for it. We had to overcome obstacles and resistance, and we had to push through it. So I just wanted to bring that up too, because, you know, there's this trick that our mind plays on us that we're doing pretty good, right? But there's always a little better that we can do. And there's always something right beyond our realm of understanding that is probably very beneficial for us to learn. Not probably, but it is. So we can continue to grow and continue to understand more and continue to transcend all of our limitations.
Wow. Wow. You just dropped bomb after bomb after bomb.
Did
Yeah,
I?
it was really beautiful. Like it's just, you know, sharing so deeply on your journey from that new age party mindset, I can relate to so much. And it's so beautiful to be able to have that mirrored back to me as well. And I'm sure to many of those who are listening, because I've never been able to put it into the perspective of, oh, yeah, but I'm doing okay. Yeah, but I'm doing fine. I'm making money, so it's okay. Like I'm working in the best restaurants in London. It's okay. I might be partying, like who needs sleep anyway, 5,
Yeah.
6, 7 days a week, but I'm okay because I've got this or because I work here. And I've never put it in that perspective before. And you've also opened up so many parts of my own limiting beliefs that I still have on my blinkers, and they've just gone, and I'm like, wow, I still
Oh,
have that little mindset, and a little bit of a sense of, oh no, but I'm doing okay. So it's good. But why not thrive? That's what this whole podcast is about. Why not take the step outside of the limiting beliefs and live an extraordinary life?
mm,
When we took that step on the path of and became an adept initiate, that's kind of what we committed to. I will live over and above. I will be in service. I will receive. I'm open to receive because I want to live and I want to serve the light, be of service to the light. And I love what you said. There's a couple of things I really want to touch on. One of them was firstly on your website, I love it. It's like, it's not new age, it's not self-help, it's not a trend. And I was driving the other day listening to Stephen Bartlett's podcast, and I absolutely love him, The Diary of the CEO. If you haven't
hmm
listened to him, go.
Yeah,
It's
I know him. Yeah, he's great.
He's great. And he was talking about meditation. And he was saying how like he thought meditation was some like hippy dippy stuff for girls in the beginning. Until he actually sat down and meditated and did the work. And he's like, it's not a fad. Like, I'm a good CEO today because I meditated, you know? And it's kind of so beautiful because I was driving thinking, yeah, the mystery school is not a fucking fad. And I got really like, I was like, ah, I was like, oh my gosh, like we found a path of purification and progression that never ends, that helps you always be able to take the next step. If you so choose, if you wish to put the work in, if you wish to have the devotion and dedication that it takes, there is a path. And with the accusations of cults and new age spirituality and all of the things out there that, you know, we've had to overcome and stand up towards and be like, I see why you are struggling to see this. Let me help you understand. Here's a podcast. Here's the life activation. Here's empower thyself. Take a step along the path. Let me help guide you. I know it's scary because the thing is, when we shine light into the dark, the unknown, unseen, of course, it's going to raise concerns, skepticism, fear, because we as humans hold on to certain things and experience certain things that create these emotions and experiences. So when the light shines in, it truly amplifies. And sometimes we don't have the perspective and the mindset, which shifts and changes as you step along the path to be like, okay, this is a fear. This is not a truth. This is not finite. Why am I scared? And for me, my biggest thing is I was scared of my own power. I was scared of stepping into the light fully because I would have to let go of the shadows. I would have to let go of the darkness and the drugs and the sex and the, you know, the partying and the reckless behavior. And when I say sex, I don't mean, you know, having a beautiful relationship with someone and pursuing someone sexually. I meant the really unhealthy behaviors that I also had around sex and the value of love and value of sex and you know, the miscommunications I had internally about them. Same with food, same with all of these things. So you put it so beautifully. And it's brought up all of that for myself, which has been really inspiring. So thank you. And
My
what I
pleasure.
did really, really want to kind of touch on briefly was skepticism. Now, you said you were a little bit skeptic for whatever period of time prior to you taking the next step and the next step along the path. And it's a really interesting thing because I think we're all skeptical of something. And sometimes, like you mentioned, skepticism can be healthy because for me, I know that certain skeptic feelings have often got me to stay away from something that I'm glad that I did eventually. So that was more of my intuition. And for someone listening who's a little bit skeptical about whatever it is in their life, let's say it's getting the life activation or, you know, doing Ritual Master 2 or doing Kabbalah or, you know, putting down the vape pen or putting down the THC or the drugs because, you know, they think that that is what they need or what they want to hold on to for whatever reason. Why is skepticism valuable? Is skepticism valuable? And, you know, how can we demystify skepticism towards stepping along the path of light and purification?
Well, you know, I think skepticism is good in the doses that it's good in, like adrenaline. Like you don't want to be overloaded on adrenaline all the time, but sometimes you need adrenaline, right? And I think that the skepticism, it's good to have a healthy skepticism, but you can't let the skepticism get unhealthy, meaning that you can't let it block you from doing things that may have a great benefit in your life. And one thing that guides encounter a lot is that folks that are interested in this path, they have to overcome quite a bit of resistance in order to step forward on the path, because this work, as it says on my website, and as you mentioned, this is not new age, it's not self-help. And this is soul work that radiates out into all areas of your life. And the negative ego, which you learn about in Empower Thyself much more deeply, um, it doesn't want to let go. And so all those things that are coming up, including an unhealthy amount of skepticism, means that's something that's keeping you, right, from doing things. And usually when you have that unhealthy amount of skepticism, you'll see that in all areas of your life or in multiple areas of your life. It won't just be with, light work. It might be with, oh, I don't trust this thing, or I don't trust people, or, I'm getting offered things that I know can help me, but I'm always saying no to those things because I'm scared or things. So you can see what the root, try to see, what the root of that skepticism is. But the biggest, the biggest way to understand if you have, if you have like a good amount or not a good amount of skepticism is just to take some steps, right? That are safe and that are small, and start sampling and start receiving the experience of what this proposed work does. Because the mind will never allow you to understand what you're going to receive. It's like an impossibility. It can't fathom it. It can't understand it. We can try to ease and soothe the mind by giving it a lot of information, right? But sometimes that has like the opposite result. So what I usually recommend to people and to clients and to students stepping on the path is say, listen to your heart, listen to your soul. If you have a feeling inside your body that says, this is interesting. Like there's something here, like I want this. I'm intrigued by this. I'm curious by this. Take a little taste. Try it out. It's no commitment, Like it's a results-based path. You take one little step, you see the results. If they work for you, we welcome you to take a second step and a third step and a fourth step, but you are completely in charge of it, right? And of the pace, as you saw with my pace, 15 years. Some people take 3 years. I was sitting in my guide class with other guides who only took 3 years to get there. It took me 15, right? And that's okay. Maybe they started when they were 39 and I started when I was 25, right? So everybody's path is unique. But what I would say is just don't stay still. Whatever it is that you're called to do, that you're called to try, that is going to allow or even promise or offer the possibility for growth, for expansion, for overcoming challenges, for raising your levels of resilience and awareness, what do you have to lose? Take a little step, give it a little try. If it doesn't work for you, then you say, hey, this is not for me. Oh, I spent 2 hours and a couple of $100 on the life activation. I tried it out and it's not for me. And you can go about your way. It's you really have to take a little taste and find out what it is, because once you get a taste of that light, then you have a concept and an understanding of what you're dealing with. And that can inform the skepticism. But without having an experience, without bringing in additional input in a form of experience, you can stay stuck in skepticism. And then we call that stagnation. And when you're in stagnation, you're not growing. as you learn through these ancient mystery teachings. And, stagnation is, it's not a healthy place to be.
Mm.
Our body systems literally start shutting down when we're not progressing. And that's when you get things like depression, apathy, anxiety, low vitality. People are like, oh, I'm so tired all the time. Those things start happening. Our literal body systems start to shut down when we are not progressing and growing and challenging ourselves and overcoming our skepticism.
Mm. That's a very, very sacred way of putting it. And thank you for offering people a method in relieving themselves from skepticism and the understanding that stagnation is actually going backwards.
Yeah.
If you're not moving forwards, you're going backwards. And what I would love to end on today is, just a reflection of how important it is to have a guide. And it doesn't mean that you're handing your power over to anyone, because essentially you are a guide. But a guide is someone who's dedicated their life to the path of light, to help usher you towards your higher self, towards your path, connecting deeper with your spirit guides, connecting deeper with who you are, not taking away from it, but ushering you. And kind of, if you're on the ledge, being like, hey, you can take a step back if you want to. You can also take a step to the side. I've walked this path many times before. I can help you. And it's an incredible relationship to have. And if you are wanting to receive the life activation or any other healings, you know, like Tatiana said, it's not necessarily a wise idea to just take a look at something and walk away, but to give it a chance. If you have an inkling of an understanding that there is light here, what I always say to my clients and to my friends and my family is get a life activation, do empower thyself, and even do in Sophic 1, 2, or sacred geometry 1 or 2, have some tools and really feel into the lineage, and I get an understanding of what it is before you say no. Because the thing is, if it's not for you, you can walk away, but at least you've gone through a really beautiful process of purification and healing, and you've received some tools, and you've been able to engage a little bit with a toolkit that you have, become a life activation practitioner. The initiations themselves are incredible, and it's a really powerful journey to be on. And if you so choose to take it further and become a ritual master, take a step on the warrior path, take a step on the Kabbalistic path, then that's incredible too. But if you're wanting to do any work with Tatiana, she's based in Florida, Naples. And I know that she is running an Empower Thyself class coming up in January. And I also will put all of the information to her healing studio, Ascended Living, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
And also just her own personal details. So if you want to message her about life activation, about working with the lineage, about anything that we've discussed today. And for myself, if you're based in Europe, if you're based in the UK or South Africa, please reach out to me. I can either point you in the right direction, or we can set up a life activation for you, or a consultation, and just have a chat and see where you're at and how we can work together, or just how I can usher you in the right direction. So thank you so much, Tatiana, for coming on here today and really sharing so beautifully, open-heartedly. And I would love for you to just give a little bit of information on your Empower Thyself class coming up and what Empower Thyself is before we say goodbye.
Yes, I would love to. So the next Empower Thyself class that I'm teaching is January 15th and 16th here in Naples, Florida. And the Empower Thyself training and initiation opens up the gates to the lineage of King Solomon. So I like to tell people in a fun sort of way, like imagine getting married to the Vanderbilts or the Rothschilds. Once you're in the family, you've got all the support of the family, you've got all the family secrets, and you've got this massive, massive lineage, right, that you have access to with everything that comes with that. So it's similar to that when you step onto the lineage of King Solomon. You've got a 3,000-year-old family that has been collecting and has been perfecting and refining all the teachings and tools for us to know ourselves. So there are some very practical things that happen from the class, practical benefits that you receive, and you're welcome to go on my website and check it out and book a call with me if you'd like. I'm open for one-on-one calls, and I love to get into it. There's so many benefits besides just the study that you have access to. You receive the initiation, which transforms your container. It actually expands your container by 10 times, so you're able to hold more light and to handle life in a much stronger, more empowered way. I also offer the life activation session, which is a requirement for the Empower Thyself class, but it can also be done alone. So for folks who would like to get a little taste and they're not ready to sign up for the class yet, or they'd like to get an experience of what this energy and what this lineage is all about, I would recommend to contact myself or Jessica, and we can either give you the life activation or put you in touch with somebody in your area, because there is, I'm not sure of the number, but I think there's like 450 guides worldwide with Japan. And there's many more life activation practitioners worldwide. So there's one around the corner from you.
I know. I'm hopefully gonna pop through this week. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm just trying to see quickly if this will load, but I think we're on 44,000
Initiates.
initiates. And let's have a look here, because this is an absolutely fantastic statistic. I really just absolutely adore how much light work is happening here. Because it really is, like you say, it's a family, and it's about having that community, which you touched on so beautifully earlier. And for those who don't necessarily feel like they're seeking a spiritual path, but are seeking a community and people in which they want to, feel at home with, no matter the background. So, not sure on the amount of guides, but we're in 55 countries with 366 certified teachers, 506 certified advanced healers, and 44,471 initiates. That's today, and counting every single day, which is beautiful. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for those who have listened.
Yeah.
It's super blessing. It's a super big blessing to be able to, and hopefully, Ashley in Florida, I will be seeing you this week. Hopefully, you in Bradford. I know that you've just hosted in Suffolk 1 and 2 with Ambassador Eric here. So yeah, it's just amazing to see how the light's flowing here in Florida. All
And
right.
if you want to come down to Naples, Jessica, I would love to have you here. We have a very large community of light workers here,
Yeah.
that's been being built for the last 25 years. So we would also welcome you here if there's a way for you to come down.
I totally will do my best. Well, thank you.
Thank you, my love.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Elemental Podcast. I hope you found inspiration, insight, or a little nudge towards living your extraordinary life. If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'd also love to hear from you. Leave a comment, send me your thoughts, or suggest topics you want me to explore in future episodes. Remember, this podcast is as much for you as it is for me. Every step we take together brings us closer to building health, wealth, and a life lived fully and authentically. Thank you for your support, your time, and your energy. Until next time, continue to reign in your power, walk with grace, and Claim that extraordinary life that's rightfully yours. My name is Jessica Rea, and this is the Elemental Podcast.